Thanks for staying with us. You're watching TVC News at 12. Let's now turn to security matters. Osun State Commandant of the Amotekun Corps, Isaac Omoyele, has paraded 8 suspected criminals for different offences, including a 37-year-old man who specializes in killing commercial motorcyclists in Osogbo. Senior reporter Rafiu Hamid reports.
The suspects were arrested in different parts of Osun State. Among them is Afiz Olaniyan, who specializes in hiring motorcycle riders to undeveloped sites where they are killed and their motorcycles collected and sold. He was also alleged to be selling corpses of his victims to an alpha in Kwara State for 250,000 naira each.
The suspects confessed to the killing of scores of Okada commercial motorcycle riders by hiring them to undeveloped sites under the pretense that he worked in the site. He confessed that after the killing of his victim, he used to sell the corpses or remains to an afar in Kwara State. He mentioned that he has killed more than 15 motorcyclists.
A 30-year-old Rebecca Akko was also paraded for using fake naira notes to buy goods from innocent persons.
Suspect during interrogation confessed to have been dodging in the business for a long time. She confessed to have been buying the fake currency from one Mrs. Elizabeth, who used to send it through dispatch from Abuja. He said he used to pay 50,000 naira to buy 200,000 notes.
All the suspects confessed to the crime.
The
woman that sends the money told me it's fake currency and how to use it to make transactions. If she gives me 100,000 naira, I pay her 50,000 naira. That was how I was arrested.
Other suspects include Laisi Kazim, who specializes in stealing electricity cables, and a 50-year-old Bankole Adeyemi, who specializes in stealing and kidnapping, among others. Isaac Omoyele tasked members of the public to always be security conscious and provide necessary information to security operatives. He promised to hand over all the suspects to the police for proper investigation and prosecution. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
We're staying in Osun State, where the West African Youth Ambassador is calling for concerted efforts in tackling cybersecurity and promoting responsible online behavior in Nigeria. Addressing journalists in Ile-Ife, the group described cybersecurity as a vital component of national security, economic stability, and personal safety, which must not be compromised. They also believe that effective cybersecurity will improve the country's electoral process.
As we embark on this journey towards more secure digital features for Nigeria, we invite every citizen, especially our youth, to join us on this mission. Together we can build a resilient society, equipped to face the challenges of the digital age. By prioritizing cybersecurity education and awareness, we are not just protecting individuals, we are safeguarding our collective future. Let us unite in our commitment to creating a safer, more secure Nigeria every citizen can live in.
We call on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to urgently react and find a possible swift solution to the current fuel crisis evolving nationwide, as we can no longer afford the cost to live and survive in our very own country, Nigeria. We also want to reiterate our commitment to youth empowerment.
In other news, a civil society group known as FAME has called on government at all levels to declare a state of emergency on femicide in the country. It also tasked media organizations to raise awareness and challenge the harmful social norms that perpetuate violence against girls and women. TVC News correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
Femicide is the intentional killing of women and girls across the globe. Femicide is seen as a violation of human rights. The United Nations reports that more than 89,000 women and girls were killed in 2022 and 2023. The organization, in its 2022 report, says no less than 401 women died from sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria. This gender-based group describes femicide as a serious crime on the rise in Nigeria and which must be curtailed. FEM says while victims in other nations speak out, most Nigerian girls and women keep mum for fear of stigmatization.
The girl child, young women and young female adults are endangered in Nigeria. Femicide has become a pandemic and a state of emergency needs to be declared on this overlooked issue. Victim blaming must end.
It wants government to declare a state of emergency on femicide, just as it calls for the implementation of laws prohibiting violence against the female gender.
We urge the government, civil society organizations, parents, religious bodies, traditional and community leaders, and all citizens of Nigeria to unite in the fight against femicide. It could be your niece, it could be your cousin, it could be your sister, it could also be your daughter. Silence is not an option.
The group believes imbalance of power between men and women fuels recurring violence as it calls for a reorientation. It underscores the role of the media in achieving a drastic drop in the rate of attacks on women and girls.
We need to strengthen existing laws that address SGBV and ensure its enforcement. Perpetrators of femicide must face swift and adequate punishment to deter future crimes.
The non-governmental organization says the goal is to reduce to the barest minimum the high rate of femicide recorded by the Nigerian government in the last 3 years. Joke Yadsa, TVC News, Abuja.
At least 2,000 vulnerable widows and orphans from Sokoto and Zamfara states have benefited from an intervention that seeks to mitigate the impact of HIV and other vulnerability. The intervention is provided under the USAID-funded Integrated Child Health and Social Services Award Project, covering health insurance, cash transfer, and distribution of vocational skills startup kits. In Sokoto, the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs is collaborating with the donor agencies to provide the needed support for over 1,000 persons, while in Zamfara State, over 1,028 persons have benefited from the health insurance, cash transfer, and starter kits for vocational training intervention.
Regarding their health, we are giving children and their caregivers the security they need to thrive. Second, we are distributing vocational skills equipment worth over 20 million naira to 120 caregivers and adolescents. These include 80 grinding machines and 20 sewing machines, which will equip beneficiaries with the means to either start or grow their businesses. This initiative is not just about providing tools, it's about fostering economic independence, creating opportunities for sustainable livelihoods, and building resilience within families and communities.
The event marks an important step forward in our collective effort to foster positive change and empowerment across our communities. Through the ICHISS4 project, we are addressing critical areas of need for vulnerable children and caregivers, strengthening the health, economic, and social structures that support them.
Over the past 2 years, the ICHSSA4 project has worked with the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, the Ministry of Health, and other government ministries and agencies to deliver inclusive, evidence-based, and age-appropriate interventions for vulnerable populations across all 40 local government areas of Zamfara State.
To Electoral Matters, the Independent Electoral Commission has issued certificates of return to the 27 chairman-elect who won last Saturday's council election in Imo State. The chairman of Imo State Independent Electoral Commission, Charles Ejogu, while commending the process, said the commission complied with electoral laws in conducting the polls. Mr. Ejogu asked winners of the election to see their victory as a reflection of the will of the people and ensure quality representation.
Consonance with the relevant provisions of the law, the Electoral Act, and other enactments thereto. Today, the Commission will formally hand over certificates of return to the Council Chairman. And what has just happened in Imo State is a concrete demonstration of the will and determination of the people to express themselves